Hi, this is Marilyn, and welcome to season 4, episode 2 of the Candid Conversation Show. Um, Part 2 with Chia Phoenix. Last week we discussed just life in general and friendships and where we are in our lives and the changes that are happening. In this week's episode, you will hear Chia and I speak about relationships, heterosexual relationships, um, and how they are impacting us, and also the notions of our concepts of men, um, from men that we grew up around, whether it's been positive male influences or negative. And we talk about our frustrations, our pain, even. You can even hear it in our voice sometimes, and sometimes anger at how we are perceived by men, being in what one would say like a public eye, where we have our work is very public and we're creative, we're artists, and how that sometimes is seen by others. And we really go in about our frustrations. And it is a candid conversation. So we're being real. We're not spiritually bypassed. We're not trying to sound competent. I really wanted to keep it real and be really in my authenticity in that place where I feel pissed off. Um, and in allowing myself to do that, and same as Chia, allowing herself to be honest about how she feels and roars at times, we actually come full circle and realize that the work really starts with us and what we are experiencing, our mirrors, and also what we've internalized from our primary opposite sex parent or caregiver. And this is why we're encountering these situations, but it's not to bypass again, because I think that, especially in the spiritual circles, and this is what I've done before, I've taken on the responsibility of failed relationships when actually we're all equally to blame what happens to us, in terms of our trauma responses, how we fall and we people please. We're responsible, but I mean, I've said we're to blame. I don't think we're to blame. I more want to say we're kind of responsible for our actions once we are aware of the dynamic. I would say that. Um, and that action may not be we're going to correct that behavior, but it may be saying sorry and asking for forgiveness of ourselves and others. I think that's really, really powerful, and Chia speaks about that um, during the conversation. And I think this is quite a healing episode, because I think in all what we say, I'm sure there'll be a part where you can relate to. And I do think, as a healer and a person that has worked with other people, I've often really been like, oh, it's higher ground. We're spiritual beings, and not accepting that there's a trauma, really scared and afraid in a child, and to allow us to grow up into healthy human beings, regardless of our ages, and to be emotionally healthy, we have to tend to the garden of our inner child and that place within us where we didn't have the opportunity or the safety to really express how we're feeling. So I hope that you can take from this episode is that you are allowed to feel your feelings and come out the other end. Enjoy this episode. Don't forget to subscribe and, complete the survey that I've got attached to this episode as well. Welcome to the Candid Conversation Show. I'm your host, Marilyn Fontaine, artist and creative coach for women who want success and income with ease.
And just like, I don't want to just be judged because of what you see. I want people to see that the joy that you see from me, or the light, I've worked hard to maintain that, but there's a story behind it. So don't just look at what you're seeing and have your say what you say, because some people have said some extraordinary things to me. Like, why would you call me and say that? Why do you feel that you need to call me and randomly advise me on that? Why does a man have to randomly say, like, well, a man would feel that? Why are you even thinking that?
Yeah. I mean, we're going to go into relationships and men in a minute because we are heterosexual women.
3 hours. I'm joking.
Exactly. But I do feel, I think that you said about ringing people up and saying, and I do think a lot of women don't feel safe enough to be vulnerable or to ask for people to look out for them. And I didn't know the language to be able to convey that to people. And so I said, I just need people to ask me the same thing I always ask people when they're distressed is, what do you want to do about it? Not, do you think you're right? Or how are you feeling about that? These are the things.
There. I do the extra checks throughout the week. Are you good? I'm just checking in
good?
again. I know that you felt this.
But if somebody's talking about something, I tend to say, how do you feel about that? And that's all I want someone to do. I don't want someone to give me advice. Sometimes, sometimes I can say, I'll say to people what you think. And sometimes I don't mind people giving me advice. But there's particular people that I would talk to and they'll just dismiss. And to me, I don't feel safe. Because when I'm coming to you at that moment, I'm coming to you, not the strong Marilyn I know the answer. My adult knows the answer. But when I'm coming to you my inner child. I'm coming to you, that triggered 9-year-old that experienced seeing domestic violence in the family home. That's what's happened. I don't want you to dismiss me because it's freaking me the fuck out. And so now I know how to self-regulate. And do that for myself. However, as a friend, I'd at least, like you said, at least want you to be there and be silent, or to say, you know what, I know, wow, or but sometimes people can't read the signs. So I think the requirement of the friendship would be me having to say that. But mind you, the people that I've met, even the transitional people, they've been really good in terms of that. They've been really present and just holding the space. I've not even had to tell them, they've just offered.
I got tired of spelling things out. I was like, I don't know. You know me, I'm a talker. If we talk from week to week, I say to you, this is happening, and then I was tired of getting to place with people, and then you've offloaded, you this, that, and the other. Yeah. And then I've said to you, look, I've had enough, or whatever it is. And you're like, oh, I didn't know that was happening. What do you mean? How? I told you softly, this was going on. I told you when we had our normal chats, this was going on. But it's like people needed me to scream at them. Did you see I was just under distress? Didn't I tell you I was just going through this situation? If you tell me this week is crazy, I'm feeling it distressed, I don't forget 2 weeks later that you was distressed. Even like with my friend Jenny, I know this year she's been tired. All throughout the year, I've said to her every week, make sure you rest up this week, sis. Because I know she hasn't fully caught up on all the rest from the beginning of the year. I haven't forgotten it's there just because she's still moving. She's got to still got moving because she's got things that she needs to do. But I'm still holding because I hear her.
Yeah.
I'm hearing the deeper and I'm trying to take care of my friend. So I'm going to keep reminding you. But I don't need, the same way when I was doing He's Vulnerable When, Jenny was like, are you going to be able to do this? And I said, Jenny, I'm going to write out questions. And she's like, I'm going to be on stage with you and whatever, to make sure I didn't go off. And I told you, and I told that I had people in the audience. that knew. And I only kept the people next to me on the stage, even with my friend Dean. He knew. Everybody, those people knew what my process was. The audience didn't know, but they knew, rah, she's dealing with some big things right now, but we want her to succeed in doing this premiere and continue to be able to move forward. I shouldn't have to scream to people. I just went through this thing at work. I've told you I'm having a breakdown. I told you I've started therapy. I told you that my body started to flood. And you thought it was just over in a week. I don't want, for me, I couldn't do that anymore. I was like, so that's why my tool was silence.
Yeah.
My tool was, well, you talk, girl. No one's hearing you.
And it's also that they're choosing not to. And I think the more you care for yourself, you're going to attract, which you have done, spaces and people that will be there for you. Even my family doesn't make me feel unsafe because I go there with my inner parent, protecting my inner child. Speaking of safety, so in relationships, because I've noticed pattern, well, I feel there's undercover misogyny, like hatred of women, black women going on that is unconscious, brought on by mothers, how they raise their sons. And I've come across certain guys that people say, yeah, but they're intimidated by you, but that's an easy get out.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
I feel like they're not dealing with their work. And for me, I've experienced subtle competition or like being very present but not being present. So there's a social media behavior that I'm hearing of that guys and not doing things, or at least, or not even not turning up, but not being emotionally present and being emotionally unavailable, but just not following a protocol. And again, for me, if you don't have, and this happens with several people, if you don't have the equipment, excuse the pun, if you don't have the wherewithal.
Well, they have the equipment, but
maybe, how do you know Unix? But no, take it there. But so I've had really weird situations. Like one person who's meant to be a friend commenting about something. I had a picture and commented and saying it was a joke, but actually knew what they was doing. And to me, it was like, what's going on here? This is not just about two friends bantering. You actually wanted me to be upset. And for a man to do that, that's not good, right? I'm being gender specific. The reason I'm saying that is because if I'm meant to be your friend, and women, we have a concept of beauty, didn't we? And how we look. When a man says that, heterosexual women, not all women, but that's also for me to work on. But I was upset that you tried to, because I was with another man as a friend, there was an envy, there was a jealousy, there was a trigger. So you tried to make a reference to my looks. And to me, that was so disappointing. Because even though his stuff was unconscious, it still showed me that this is in 2023, this is where some guys are. And this is a male friend. This is not even a romantic relationship. I don't feel nothing for this person. And then another person, there's this weird thing happening online. Social media, you're very friendly social media, but there's no follow through, even again as a friend. And to me, it's like, what's going on? So that's something I have to unpack. But what it has told me is about the safety. If you're not satisfying basic needs as a friend, then it's time for me to move on. But these things have happened twice. So it's for me to look at what is my self-concept about the masculine.
I mean, boy, that's a big question, Carmen. I don't even know, because I went through a process with my dad of reconnecting back with my dad and thinking that after all these years we'd come to some form of resolution and that father wound was going to be healed, and despite how things was growing up, the violence and all that sorts of stuff, only for him to just literally abandon me and cut out on me again because he's the professional victim. And realizing that it doesn't make a difference how I've grown, how I've turned up, how I this, how I that. For me, the man doesn't want to take any accountability at all. He's admitted to everybody else who he is, but he just doesn't want to admit it to me, which means there's some shame in there. But the point is, it was still the grown-up me just realizing this man doesn't matter. He doesn't matter to him if he doesn't chat to me for a year, 2 years, whatever it is. He it just doesn't matter. And I think when it comes, I've been thinking a lot about relationship, you know, my relationships with men based on my complex PTSD, and then in terms of where I'm at now. And yeah, I've had the safety thing. Not that men have been scary. I just was just like, why do you talk to me? Like,
yeah,
why would people come to enter your life to talk to you, to want to make connection, to then be like, nah, it's not all that. Do you know what I mean? Like you've sought me out. I have guys that you've sought me out. You've liked me for years and years and years and years to come with nothing. And so I don't know what the point is. And then when it comes to my male friends, the platonic friends, I've always been good with my platonic. I've always had good platonic male friends. Always. They've looked after me. They've been cool. I've become friends with their wife. I'm in the family. It's like I feel like the standard of my male friendships is good. They include me. They get it. Like I've got one great friend, Dean, and he's like, you're my sister. And when he's doing stuff with his sisters, his children, his wife, I'm good with his wife. He calls me, Chi, are you there on a Saturday? We're having a barbecue. You know, because you're my sister. Come, the family's down here. He's very aware of inclusivity around me being on my own, but him feeling I'm a sister. So I'm introduced to his sisters.
Well, it's a good model of masculinity, isn't it?
And it's very, very comforting. And I've always had that. I have, no matter whether I've had different friends along the way and we're not as close as we are now, but my brother friends have showed up as fathers and brothers to me. There has never been funny business. I don't feel awkward in this, that, and the other. None of that. But when it comes to meeting men for a relationship, they fall so short when they don't realize that I've got these good friendships going on. I'm just not intimate with them, but they're providing a nourishment by me just being me. Whereas you're meeting people, certain men, and I don't know, they just dig. It's like sometimes I meet some guys you really do like, and you think I'm lovely, but you got to do it in a digging way. You're bringing flowers and you're just being romantic and you're taking on a date. You've got to say to me, yeah, but you know, you think it all that because you dance in it, or you know, women like you did. There's always a dig. It's never just I'm gonna charmingly court this lady that I think is really beautiful and whatever. Or I've also had the guys where I don't know whether you're lonely or you got issues going on or whatever it is going on, but you just saw me online and you just have to reach out, but you didn't have no plan. And then when I've spoken to you, you got a woman, what are you talking to me for? You've studied me. You've been studying my page.
What do you do? Do you say to
look
them?
How blatant I talk about things.
Yeah.
I feel like if a man's watching me, he'd be able to get very clearly, all right, she's a single woman. She knows what she wants. She's this. She's a spiritual woman. But I feel like with some guys, it's not they meet me and then they realize, oh, you're real. That all the stuff you say that you do and it's real. And I'm like, well, what else am I if I'm not?
Do you say to them, have you got a partner? Or do they say it? Or just on Instagram?
To be honest, Auntie Marilyn, we didn't even get anywhere. You meet someone, they say hi, you say hi, they say, would you like to go out for a date? You start chatting, blah, 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 blah. It's my intuition.
Yeah.
That says, hold on a minute. And then you hear I am. So what are you talking to? What? I don't know why did you come? Why did I, especially, I don't go out.
I know we're not.
I'm not seeking. I'm not sending a radar at all. No. I am in my yard, nowhere, not troubling nobody. So when somebody, if I get a little message or a friend of a friend or whatever it is, whether I'm genuinely thinking that person thought I like her. I don't understand. And then what I've also had with men is when I'm then saying, okay, well, it's not that then, innit? Like, it's just not that. There's this woundedness. Like, I've just dismissed them. No, you've hurt me. You make me like, I started to like you. I got excited because people don't realize we still get excited when we meet people, You meet someone, you think that they're good looking, you're having a good conversation, and your inner child starts to go, whoa, man, I can't wait till they call again. And then you burst the bubble with foolishness. You're a wrong person. You burst the bubble. So I'm upset now. I'm actually upset. I have to pull myself away. I'm being mature as well, because I've had said to some guys, look, all right, I just got to get over it, innit? We didn't get anywhere, but I started to like you and I got to go. And they're like, well, what do you mean? Well, from when we were young, you get used to some people like you, some people don't. You move on, you nurse your heart and you keep it moving. Like, I'm not even vexed with you. It's not that thing. But I've realized that there must be other people out there just getting involved in confusion all the time for people to think this is a normal way for us to be able to interact with each other.
I think it's social media. I do. I think maybe these guys you've met not, but I think social media. I think that was weird because when I was on
Easier in the
Facebook,
90s, man. It was easier when I was
of
15.
course it was. Well, we had A-line skirts and
Yeah, but a brother knew why he was coming to talk to you.
Well,
He
cool.
knew that time was running out because he'd had to give you a number. He hoped that you got home with the piece of paper. He hoped that you could call from your mum's home phone, you know, that you had 20p for the phone box. So by the time we met, we were going out and we was in a solid relationship for 4 years.
Yes.
People wanted to be together back
But do you think, but I don't know, because I just feel like these days, I think that a lot of them are in ambiguous relationships, and I do for social media because, like I said, the last last two relationships that I met them via, we used to all go out, but then the hooking up, not hooking up, that sounds wrong. You know, like, what is it called? Chasing. Was inbox chasing from Facebook. I'm not on Facebook anymore. So I think that's cut a lot. But I just think that it was getting too small. Everybody knew each other, right? And I'm dating. So, but it was two long relationships, right? With these two people. At different times, not together. But I came off that on Instagram, but I spoke to several people as well, and they've said that I do believe, whether it's Facebook or Instagram or I don't know, people on apps, I just feel like I think people create these mental relationships or these relationships through the filter of social media.
So through what they can see.
Yeah, they feel like they're having a real relationship with you because they like your.
Or they feel that they know you, but you're not reading the right things. Like for someone like me, I'm an open book. So you're not reading. So all the time you were looking through this, you didn't see that I just said this. Even spiritually, listen, I've met some people, they think it's a gimmick. They've seen me with my card. Some guys are like, bruv, you've just watched me. I didn't read, like, what? Like, I don't know what planet, but in all fairness, let me not be hardcore, right? I understand that people are processing, the men are trying to heal.
Oh, shiny object. Well, then, yeah.
No, but what I mean is, I understand the process of where people are at. For myself, I just want things simple. Yeah. I want to just meet someone that thinks I'm beautiful. The more he's learning and understanding about me, he fits somewhere with him that makes him want, do you know what I mean? He wants to meet me where I'm at and allows me to meet him where he's at. No one's perfect. I understand you're going to meet people. We're of an age. There's all different things that comes along with people, but you want to lay your cards out. I want people to give me my opportunity to make my own decisions. I'm not in something by a deception or deceit or anything like that. I need a bit of vulnerability because I can understand things. I've said to some guys, listen, I could just be your friend. Like, you didn't even need to.
No, they want the drama. You got to understand a lot of people.
To drama. And that's what feels intense for them.
Yeah, just because you've got an X or Y chromosome, you still want drama. Remember, we're working on ourselves. And I mean, the good thing you've got, I've been listening to this manifestation podcast, and they say what are they called? I forgot they're called, but there's things that they're called, and they're people who inhibit the values and the virtues that you want for your partner. So you have that already. I can't remember the name of it, but it's on a expansion podcast. It's called. But you already have that with your friends. You've got male friends that are in good relationship. So you have these markers, these markers already of what you should have. So I think it's just tweaking.
I never used to go out looking, searching, because I just didn't know, or I was awkward. I call myself, my friends know,
I'm
awkward black girl. I don't know what flirting, unflirting is. I need
I know it's a flirt.
Someone has to be quite direct. I need someone to actually stand next to me and say, hi.
Yes.
Hi, how are you? I think you're before I take on that, oh, this person is interested in talking with me. I never was a person that just assumed or could make eye gaze with that person. I never was in that world. But because, and I say this to my friends all the time, you know, it's not that I considered myself pretty or beautiful, but some people would say to me, oh, you're pretty, you're beautiful. But you can go through life and then people just, I've met some guys and they're like, yeah, but you're pretty in it. You've had da-da-da-da-da. But it hasn't made people be nicer to me. It hasn't made men
It
be
doesn't, because you
it hasn't
get
made
harder.
men look after me or protect me. Like, so the pretty and beauty thing, I don't care. But I've had it from when I'm 14, 15, where men have been like you're wholesome, man. Like you're this, whatever. Really? But you're still offering me crumbs.
Yeah, I couldn't have that because my brother and cousins were beating them up. So guys,
I didn't have
it
any
was a
men.
bit like living with Italian mafia. So nobody really stepped to me. But many years later, oh, I used to like you. If only I'd known, I would have gone at everybody. No, I'm joking. But and the thing is, I can flirt. I don't mind. I love a good flirt. But for me, you have to give me a signal. Like for me, I'm not gonna graft to get anybody. But if there's, I know how to flirt and be humorous, but I'm still shy. It's got to be in the right context. And but what I found, and at one stage I do think it's because you're getting older and blah blah blah. But I actually think it's in this. I actually think there's this geography where I live, not just where I live, but just London. How people they're not so close. The skate world is different, but I don't want skate world is my skate. That's my escape. I had a skate boyfriend at 17. I don't want one in the skate community. You know,
I had a drug dealer at 16.
exactly.
I don't want a drug dealer.
Well, my brother will never had that.
Roadman.
But even then, there's a guy in skating that's a bit crazy. That's been, I had to block him because of behavior. Like it's really weird. And it goes back to our feminine power. Like we know we know about feminine sexuality and tantra and energy and polarity. And I don't switch that on anymore because I don't need the wrong person to tap into that. But so I do tend to get these guys that behave a certain way. However, as obsessive as you can behave, you're still not exhibiting emotional commitment.
Yeah.
Recently. And I know I wasn't ready, especially after being in a traumatic. My last relationship was traumatic to the hill. And so I think I'd made a pact. But now I'm ready. My light is on. So I suppose it's about shifting out the people. And I have said no a hell of a lot to a lot of people. Like, no, I'm not going there. So that's good because I've never been able to do that. I never felt my no was strong because of not having agency. So that's good.
For me as well, with my body, I mean, I can say, experienced some sexual trauma, but I was shamed a lot.
Yeah.
From a child. Oh, you're a prude. Oh, you're frigid. Oh, you're this, whatever. There was always sometimes guys really lusting, but then shaming me.
Yeah.
Because I'm not being overtly whatever they want me to be overtly, or growing up I had guys that would be like, oh, why are you in your tracksuit all the time? Why do you have to look like that? But then going absolutely ballistic.
Yeah,
and I'm wearing a dress. Yeah. There was never a cool medium. It was always, and I've had guys acting like I'm teasing, and I'm not even in the zone of that. So those are different things that made me at times feel a bit uncomfortable because I'm not understanding the signals or not the signals. And then if I have got close to you, I don't know, you're just making me feel away, and do you know what I mean? And I'm just, you measure it based on your conversations with your female friends and what you're listening to out there and whatever. And I'm like,
and not having brothers. If you didn't have a brother, like, I mean, I did have a lot of, I had a situation where it wasn't very good. But I think having brothers and cousins, I knew I could phone call somebody and the person would be put in the back of a boot. Not joking.
You know what? I have a really,
but still, emotionally, it still didn't protect me because I still got into a really not very good situation with ex-boyfriends. So, but the thing is, what I want to say is that we talked about we're going to finish up soon, but we talked about safety. And what is the thing? What do you think we can? I'm not ever going to be coachy, like fuck that. But I think that I do. And honestly, I do think that these guys that are coming into my life that have been really off center, I think they're a representation of my reluctance to commit. I think it's showing me, because I'm doing a lot of deep work and I'm really not people pleasing. So it's showing me what I would have accepted and made up, because I'm a fantasist. But as much as I'm a fantasist, I've also got Mars in Scorpio. So if you don't fit into my fantasy, I'm very vengeful. That's the shadow side. So my realist part of me now, the adult part of me, is like, actually, you're fantasizing of what you think this is going to be. It's not that. Come back into the real world.
Yeah, and be reality,
And
be
be
clear
reality. Because
on
if I
what.
don't say that to myself, then my Mars in Scorpio would want revenge on that person, like really disregard them, really become like rude and really dismissive. Like it's so easy for me to just cut a man down, and I've done that. I've really, like, when I feel like they've hurt me, I've just cut them and been really rude, really dismissive. But actually, it's just to stand back and say, this is not for me. I'm not ever going to take the higher ground and spiritual bypass. This is not for me. Just take that drama elsewhere. Because I do believe a lot of these guys are not going to counseling. Like, remember, we're going into therapy.
Yeah.
And some of them may have had therapy in the past, but they're not continuously. Black people need minimum, in my eyes, 10 years minimum of therapy. So if you've had a life childhood. So these people are having 6 weeks, 6 sessions, and then that's it. They've just scratched the surface, especially being a Black man in this country. So I'm not talking about other races, but I'm talking about Black men.
I think for me, I'm just at the stage, I've just discovered my brain, man. And
Exactly.
I am just pouring into me again with re-inspiring myself creatively, re-inspiring myself professionally, trying to take better care of my, making sure I have that good balance where I'm looking after my body and, just feeling more comfortable and cozy and stuff within myself. And yes, I genuinely would love to meet a lovely companion. I'm quite a chilled person. I don't need lots to be happy. But I cannot conform. Genuinely want to feel like the bomb. I want to know that that guy looks at me like the bomb, and your behavior matches with the fact that you think that I'm the bomb. Like, it's okay for a man to feel a little bit flustered and a bit nervy. Like, I love that feeling between two people when I'm feeling it and you're. I love there's sweet moments that I've had with people where, you know what I mean? But I need honesty. And
we
at this
need
point,
humility as well, don't you? At least want to come. Let's get to the third and fourth meeting before you come with your judge and jailer about who I am.
so I want to know that when that person is looking, they're looking from the same eye as me. As I look for the value in a person, I look for the person really within. I take in who you are, where you're at. I don't look at all these aesthetic things. I'm not into the bullshit. I'm into who you really are. And I think for myself, I can tell when a man is interested in me underneath all of this, not what he thinks on everything else. And that he likes that. Not because you're just another woman and other women are like this and other women dress like this and usually women are like this. And I can tell that everything you do is what you've done with every other person out there. Each person should bring out something different within yourself. But I'm also at a place I'm reflecting. I've done a lot of, sorries and forgiveness in my heart and my soul, because I'm like, you know what? I was under the guise of my complex PTSD. So I don't even know, they couldn't have got as close to me as I thought in my head, because the complex PTSD kick does create a little bit of a wall. You're not able to be as close to people as
exactly.
So
that's
I
right.
also knew that I can look back and be like, well, maybe so and so did like me a bit more than I realized, but I couldn't feel it then. And I've had to sit down and say, okay, I'm sorry, like sorry to so and so, because I'm like, maybe I don't know how I saw myself. And I've left it open that if I had an opportunity, maybe I would like to hear, sometimes I never would want to ever before, but now I'm like, do you know, it would have been nice to have a conversation with to just hear and just say,
that's really,
how did I show up for you? Because I'm looking at myself just differently
I think what you're saying, maybe that's why these guys are showing up, because that's the work that needs to be done.
Yeah.
And you know why I say that? It's because I would always kind of, guys I dated, I would always turn on the sexual. Once I got past the nervous bit, I hated first dates and first kisses. I thought I wanted to die. Once I would switch on the siren, but there was always a wall. And when I think about it, a lot of them did like me more than I thought they did. I always thought it was me. But when we finished, it was always quite a dramatic finish. And when we finished, they would always say, like, can we get back? I'll always go back with my exes. I'll always. And last two, actually, would think something could change. But what you've just said there about that part of realizing, having that wall, and maybe I've got to do some sorry and forgive me, because I've been blaming them all the time.
Well, unfortunately, the hardest thing that was for me was understanding this complex PTSD, understanding what the memories in my body and what's going on, and realize how much I fawned. So I haven't been sexually forward, but men have just been sexually forward with, they're just forward with me. They've gone to kiss me, they've this, and I fawned.
Yeah, it's like
and I realized later on down the line that, it went there, or it moved there too quickly, or whatever it is. But I didn't even know how to. So I've gone with that, but then you're just left, or whatever it is, just understanding it from that perspective. So, I'm just at a place of just peace, forgiveness. Like, it is what it is, as long as I'm trying to love myself, I'm here on this earth. I've said to people that, of course, there's all things that we like, but I don't hang up on it every day that I don't have the partner and I don't this. I said, because otherwise I'd be disappointed and be very depressed right now if I thought like that all the time. But, your life is your life. And the situation that the trauma that I've had with my dad, and just how that felt, and how much I've really tried to he wasn't a villain in my story, but he was villain to a certain degree, violence and whatever. But I never really saw him like that. I just loved him. And to still be rejected when you never saw them through their eyes, I never blamed you for anything. I heard your story. I understood it. I had a Reiki session with a black healer called Kaya at the beginning of the year. And I made a point of going to a black male healer to feel safe, because it's easy to go to women. I wanted to go. And I remember he was the biggest trigger, because Kaya was doing some Reiki on me and I was crying, whatever. And he just randomly, I love the way certain street guys do their healing as well, because it's not all of this airy fairy stuff.
Yeah.
They just say it to you like a brother. And he just said to me, boy, man, I swear your inner, what is it? Your inner heart hates man, And I was like, hate man. I was like, I'm making this documentary right now. What are you talking about? 2 weeks later, the complex PTSD come up, and I said, oh my God. But I didn't know that this had happened to me. Maybe there has been an unconscious hate, an unconscious heartbreak, an unconscious
abandonment.
It was unconscious because it's not been in my conscious mind. It's not been part of that healing. It's in a part that was locked away, far away, that I didn't know that as a child I said, it's in there for me to exist. And it hurt, but I knew at the same time, this brother's holding me though. So he didn't mean it like you hate.
No, but he's a healer. He's just saying, and we're gonna leave it there and come back. But what I will say is that your work was showing us. Your work was showing us. Our work, we can't see, but he's vulnerable when was literally a love letter to the experience. Maybe, I don't know. I'll leave that there. But like you said, your work. Look at the documentary you've just produced.
Well, it came from being honorable to my dad's vulnerability as a child. It wasn't the trauma side. It was the times I've seen you cry. So it was an honor to the fact that I knew what it was to hold a man through vulnerability, and how can I share that with the world? But the journey changed as it came, because other stuff developed. And in that time, which people don't know, during the first screening, my dad stopped talking to me and cut out on me, and has been cut out of me since. So I had to go through the screenings, talking to people about my dad. I'm talking about him in it, knowing that I've just been rejected and abandoned again.
It's not a coincidence. For deeper work.
just thankful to be here. I'm always thankful every day. I'm like, God gives me another day to breathe. How am I still able to think? How am I still able to see myself through? How comes I'm still getting opportunities? How comes I'm still breathing? Like, I've got an opportunity. Not everybody, the next day is their opportunity. And so I just stay in that gratitude that I get another day to discover a bit more and release a bit more. And I hope that whenever my final days come, I'm empty. I'm empty.
They say die empty. What a beautiful way to finish. We're gonna have you back. We'll probably talk about Real Housewives next time.
Yeah, we'd love a real. Listen, let's have a whole conversation on my reality TV because I still
I'm going to.
I'm not too bougie for that.
No, we're not bougie here. All right then. Thank you so much.
Thank
And
you.
we're gonna see you soon.